What's up, Savvy Expats? We are hailing from a beautiful cafe in BGC, and I am with a fellow vlogger and content creator from Texas, now living in the Philippines, Pinoy Floyd. It's a pleasure to have you on for part two again.
Part two,
guys. This was a long time coming to us because it was, what would you say, like a couple, nearly almost a year or so.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, just about a year since we've originally had Floyd on the channel, and a lot has changed since then. Number one being that you're here full-time now, correct?
Yes, I'm officially here full-time, and I'm excited. I love it. I'm happy. Can't really complain. I mean, this is officially my first week since I moved here.
Wow.
1 weekend.
Amazing, man.
And it's been great.
Fantastic. So the first time we were hopping on an interview to hear more about yourself, you were still visiting the Philippines, but you were looking to make that transition full-time eventually in the future to permanently move here. But now you're here permanently. My first question for you, Floyd, is what was it like tying up those loose ends in the States to ultimately make that permanent transition to the Philippines?
Yeah, so mainly, I mean, the loose ends I had to tie up was mainly just vacating my apartment, putting stuff in storage, selling stuff, which I didn't think would be so draining and taxing, but you know, when you have a lot of stuff or you've collected a lot of stuff over the years, you got to find places to put it. And I decided for myself that I wasn't going to put a lot of stuff in storage, so I ended up selling like 90% of the stuff that I own, minus a few, you know, personal items that are near and dear to my heart. And then, of course, I'm a big family person, so I wanted to honor the commitment that I made to my family to spend time with them. My brother went to the military, and part of him being in the military means he has to, you know, move and transition to different places himself. So he ended up getting stationed in Philadelphia. I actually got a t-shirt from Philly here from my last visit. So me and my mom went to go visit my brother in Philly. We had a great time out there, ended up going to New York, ended up visiting my grandparents. And I haven't seen them in such a long time, and spending time with just different friends, family members, and relatives, because I knew that once I got to the Philippines, I wouldn't be going back to America in 2 or 3 or 4 months. I'm here for the long run and the long haul. So it's just those loose ends that I had to tie up.
Love it. So you were selling a lot of your items. You were spending your last few moments with a lot of your family members before seeing them for a long time. And now you're here permanently. How has the first week back in the Philippines been treating you?
So it's been fun, but I think the biggest challenge, not just for myself, but for a lot of expats who are coming here, is trying to like get out of that like vacation mindset.
Like, this is your new home now.
Yes, this is my new home, so I have to treat it as such. So, you know, there's been a couple of nights where maybe I stayed out a little bit too late, and you know, maybe I went to the bars a little bit too late or I hung out too late, but you know, I'm slowly but surely making that adjustment. And I think one of the most important things is, number one, reminding yourself why you even did all of this stuff in the first place. Like, this has been a 2-year process for me from the first time I got off the plane to visit to getting off the plane to move here. It's been, you know, a very long, lengthy process. So me just remembering, focusing on why I got here and what were the reasons and the goals and the motivations for me getting here has given me a lot of clarity and helped me really shape my schedule a little bit more to a person who lives here full time instead of a person who's just, you know, traveling and staying for extended periods.
Absolutely. And one of those things for you to, that is your priority now, is clearly your YouTube channel, your social media, your Instagram, your TikTok. And I'm not sure if you guys have seen Pinoy Floyd's his social media, but it's absolutely blowing up right now. And can you kind of share with them what kind of content do you create out here in the Philippines?
Yes, so it's a lot of different styles of content, but mainly my main focus is sharing the Philippines as I'm experiencing it. So it could be a restaurant video, it could be a how much do you pay for rent video, it could be a, you know, top 5 culture shocks that I've had in the Philippines as an American. So it's a mix-up, but mainly if I had to boil it down to just one thing, it's me just sharing my real-time, real-world experiences as they're actually happening.
Amazing. And one of the things that expats really want to know about when moving to the Philippines is how you, as like a young guy, can come here, leave the States at such an early age. How old are you, Floyd?
30.
30 years old, and manage to sustain a Western income while living in the Philippines. Can you share with us, how do you sustain an income while living in the Philippines as a foreigner?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know there are a lot of individuals out there that might, save up a lot of money, or they might be doing their retirement or pension. But if you're a younger guy, you absolutely have to make it a priority to get remote income and a remote job of some sort. No, you don't need to be making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, tens of thousands of dollars a month. You'd be surprised that, even just on 4 to 5K a month. And for some people, I've heard even less, but I would say around like 4 to 5K a month, you could live pretty decently.
Absolutely. I mean, that kind of income in a major city within the States wouldn't take you very far, as opposed to here you get a lot more bang for your buck.
Absolutely.
Stretch your dollar a lot further. I mean, you're living in Makati. How much are you paying for rent here in the Philippines?
So my rent is right around like $540, give or take.
540
I mean,
bucks.
it depends on the exchange rate,
Of course, yeah.
31K pesos, if y'all want to do the math on that. It's around like
Amazing.
540, sometimes 538.
Love it.
But it's a big difference in comparison to the rent that I was paying in the United States. So my rent in Texas, and I was living in Houston, one of the more affordable major cities if you compare them to, LA, Chicago, Seattle, Miami, New York. Even in Houston, I was paying like $1,400 a month for, a decent apartment. But now I'm in a high-rise condo with an amazing, sunset view of Makati, and that's only like $540 a month. I mean, you can't beat that.
That's amazing. And what floor are you on?
56.
56th floor. I mean, I can only imagine the view on the 56th floor
it's insane.
in Manila. I mean, I'm sure. What are you looking over?
So, I can't really drop my
Oh,
location.
yeah. Don't tell
For
us that.
privacy concerns.
Don't tell us that. You know why Floyd's location leaked. But like, generally, I'm sure. Okay, you're looking over Manila.
Yes.
Which is a beautiful view in and of itself. I'm sure you're like looking over a few other cities around Makati, and you're paying $540 per month to live in one of the more expensive cities within the Philippines.
Yes.
And just to make it clear, in Houston you're paying $1,400.
$1,400. So essentially, my rent, and of course, I know the math folks. I know my big guys with math. They're going to come in the comment section. But essentially, I crunched the numbers, and I'm lowering my costs for rent by, I want to say, like 50 or 60%, give or take. I mean, it might be even more. It could be closer to 70%, but of course the guys who are great at math will tell us in the comment section.
Yeah, they'll let us know.
Yeah, they'll let us know after the video.
But I mean, your expenses, just rent alone, has significantly decreased.
Yes.
I know you've only been here a year full time, but all in all, can you give us a ballpark estimate of what your cost of living would look like in the States versus here in the Philippines monthly?
Yeah, so I actually had that mapped out prior to coming here. So in the States, I was spending around like $3,500 a month, and that's rent, electric bills, utilities, groceries. Now, I'm also a small business owner, so there are also some business expenses baked in.
Right.
Some of those I wasn't able to, get rid of no matter where I lived in the world.
Right.
It's just, the cost of doing business. But I would say my transition from the United States to the Philippines, I mean, my rent just going down was a significant financial improvement. Like, just my rent itself, utilities, I would say my electricity bill might be around the same in comparison to my U.S. electricity bill, because I like to run the aircon.
Yeah, of course. We're in the Philippines. So your expenses in the States were roughly like $3,500 USD.
Correct.
Here in the Philippines, ballpark estimate, what does your cost of living look like here month by month?
I would say max probably like $1,600 to $1,700 a month.
No kidding.
So,
16, wow.
I mean, they significantly shrunk, especially when it comes to like entertainment and like lifestyle stuff,
Right.
I've just noticed that out here, I'm not feeling, the emptiness of my wallet if I go out and have a nice meal with my girlfriend.
Right.
If I want to go to the hookah lounge and smoke some shisha, or if I
Yep.
want to go out to drinks with the boys, I've noticed that, it's not really hurting my pocket so much
Exactly.
to just have fun and, enjoy life. So I would say overall, just for rent and entertainment and lifestyle, like I've noticed a significant decrease in expenditures.
So I mean, that's huge, brother. Going from spending $3,500 per month to roughly $1,600 per month in the Philippines, you're saving a lot more here. But transitioning a little bit back to the topic of your work life, what were you doing for work back in the States?
Yeah, so I work in a very niche part of real estate called apartment locating. And for the most part, it's a job that can be done, I would say 90 to 99.9% remote. Most of the times I'm just jumping on calls with, different clients and helping them relocate to Houston and find the best apartment deals. So it is something that I'm still able to do. In fact, even in the United States, most of the time I was doing it remotely anyway. So not a big issue with that. The only thing that I had to do to accommodate that out here is I started working nights to accommodate a US
For the
based
time
schedule.
zone.
So there's always going to be trade-offs no matter what you do in life. And this just happened to be a trade-off, but it's a trade-off that I knew willingly that I would have to make. And I'm perfectly fine with it.
So your job opportunity allowed you to work here remotely in the Philippines. What advice would you give to the foreigners and expats looking to find remote work as a digital nomad here in the Philippines and earn in USD?
That's a great question. I know since COVID, we've seen a surge of remote jobs and remote work. And even a lot of my colleagues and friends have started to look into remote opportunities. Even something as simple as remote customer service, data analytics, IT work, which I've heard is very big. Those types of entry-level jobs that are not too hard to acquire. They might not take a large amount of skill set, but can be very rewarding because we've entered this remote revolution where a lot of employers or a lot of jobs are moving remotely just because it's very beneficial to the bottom line of the company.
100%. And I see it myself a lot, like helping clients or expats transition to the Philippines. The reason why a lot of these business owners are moving to the Philippines is because it's a lot more affordable for them to hire out here because the talent is is cheaper per hour. And so I'm seeing a lot of business owners moving out here to the Philippines, and I get all these comments like, Evan, you're eventually going to have to go back to the States for work to build your career and whatnot. But with this digital revolution, like you said, you could kind of work from anywhere. And the Philippines is one of those hotspot places right now in the world where business owners are looking to hire out here. So there's plenty of opportunities. Now, transitioning more into your life here in the Philippines, what would you say are some of the main reasons why, of all countries in Southeast Asia, the Philippines specifically appealed to you?
So that's a great question. I mean, I would say I'm probably going to be the most biased person to answer this question because my girlfriend is Filipina, so obviously there's going to be some slight bias with that. But even before meeting my girlfriend, I was massively obsessed with the Philippines. In fact, this was one of the first Southeast Asian countries that I connected with. Shout out to my good friend, Andre in Houston. Shout out to Dre. He's half black, half Filipino. He introduced me to Filipino food and Filipino cuisine in Houston, and ever since then, I've been obsessed with the Philippines, and that's what really drove me to learn more about the culture, more about the people, and ultimately what ended up leading me out here to the Philippines.
100%. That's amazing. So really, it started since you were in the States.
Correct.
This love for Filipino culture, for the people.
Absolutely.
That's great. And so once you finally arrived here in the Philippines, I'm sure there was a lot of expectation of what the Philippines would be like based off of what you've seen and heard of in the States. What were some of the initial culture shocks you experienced when you first arrived out here?
Ooh, okay, that's a good one. Okay. How honest do you want me to be about this?
100% honest. I want the keyboard
All right.
warriors in the comment section.
So I would say it's not like major things,
Okay.
but it's just like you really notice the difference. And
Yeah.
I would say going to restaurants and hearing the words "we don't have" or
Like,
"we can't"
yeah.
or "you can't do your order this way," like
Right.
customization is not a big thing out here.
No.
From what I've
it's not.
seen, there's so many places that I've gone to where I ask, "Hey, instead of the chicken,
Yeah.
can I substitute that with beef?" "Oh no, sir, sorry, we can't.
Yeah.
We can't do." And I'm like, "Well, why not?" "Oh, we just can't." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, who says?" So it's just stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Also, I've noticed like things move a lot slower out here in the Philippines, which sometimes that can be a good thing, sometimes that can be a bad thing. Number one, it's taught me patience. It's
Absolutely.
definitely taught me patience.
I'm a contributing factor to today. I'm ashamed to admit it, but today I showed, and this was intentional. Okay, I showed Pinoy Floyd the Filipino timing of culture. I was running late to this to meeting you today, but
Absolutely.
yeah, but it was just for Filipino lessons and
Oh, yeah,
teaching
of
you the
course.
culture here. Yeah. So okay, so you'd say patience is another thing. What else would you say were some of the culture shocks you learned out here?
I mean, it wasn't too big of a culture shock just because I've done my research, but I would say for someone new to the Philippines, they might be shocked by the immense levels of poverty that you might see
Right.
in a lot of different areas. And, you know, I'm the type of person where my mentality is I'm going to do everything in my life to be a great person, to help change lives, but there are just problems that are beyond the scope of what I'm capable of doing, and it might just be out of my control. You know, there's poverty in a lot of the world. There's poverty in America, there's poverty in the Philippines, and, you know, unfortunately, I hate to say this, but it is what it is sometimes.
Exactly.
But that might be a culture shock. I've had the experience to not be that type of foreigner who only has spent time in BGC and Makati.
Right.
I've also gone to different provinces. I've gone to Tacloban City. I've gone to Tarlac and just other different parts of the Philippines to not only step outside of the metro areas, but to also see what a lot of Filipinos would call the real Philippines.
Real Philippines.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I know there's kind of like this thing where foreigners only stick around to certain areas.
Absolutely.
And I think it's very important that if you're going to live in a country, it might be wise to experience everything that you can, you know, experience in the country, both the good and the bad. That way you can really make your decision on, you know, if this is a place that you'd like to make your long-term home.
100%. 100%. Because, I mean, I know in my videos I talk very strictly about the BGC and
Right.
Makati area, and that's strictly if you are looking for a home base. But by all means, guys, like go out and explore and see other
Yeah.
parts of the Philippines, and by that you can see like what the culture really is about.
Right.
That's a really good point. Now, as far as now, this is a more niche question. What has your experience been as a black foreigner in the Philippines? How has that been?
People are gonna go in on the comment section. I get called Dwayne Wade, like legit every single day since I've gotten here. Even the doorman at my condo, when we were moving
Yeah.
in, the first thing that they say is, "Hey, excuse me, sir. Did you know you look like Dwayne Wade? D-Wade, what's going on, D-Wade?"
Miami Heat.
Yeah. But no, it's nothing too crazy. I mean, I would say if you're a black man coming to the Philippines, don't expect to get stared at or gawked at or anything like that. I mean, Filipinos are very accommodating and welcoming to foreigners, no matter what race, ethnicity, or color you are. And in fact, there are a lot of foreigners that are living in the Philippines, not just African Americans, but you know, Africans. I've learned
Right.
there's a large demographic of Nigerian and other African students who come here
Oh, yeah.
for university,
Oh yeah, very
Yeah.
very big.
which is
demographic.
really cool to find that out. I mean, I think if you go to the province though, You might get a couple of looks, a couple of stares. Nothing too bad. Nothing too bad. I just remember I was in Tacloban visiting my personal assistant, and I swear I was legit the only black person in that entire area. Which was cool though. I kind of felt like a celebrity. You know, people were, wondering, hey, what's this guy doing here?
Right.
And it's not really anything like, hey, you don't belong here. It's more of like interest and intrigue. And that's one thing I can say that I love about Filipinos is that it's more of like interest. They're more like just interested in you if you're different.
Absolutely, absolutely. And they're not hostile. That's very good. Like it's not like, oh, you're in our territory or in our country. It's nothing like that. They are interested. Interested. That's the best way to describe it.
Absolutely.
Awesome, Floyd. So, assuming that you came here to the Philippines full time, you see a very big future for yourself here. Otherwise, if you didn't, you wouldn't have moved here permanently. I want to ask, what are your accompanying plans out here in the Philippines? What are your goals? What do you ultimately want to achieve?
It's a great question, Evan. So ultimately, I want to utilize my background in real estate to help bridge that gap between, foreigners and Filipinos who are wanting to not only expand their real estate knowledge, but also get into real estate investing, whether that's through Airbnb, hotels, condos, what have you. So part of my mission on my channel is to just educate people, share my experience as I'm learning more about the real estate market in the Philippines. I think it's very interesting. I think it's very fascinating. And I think it might be one of the best real estate markets to enter into, not just from now, but into the next coming years, especially if we're talking Southeast Asian countries. So I'm all on board with that, and I'm excited to take the knowledge that I've accumulated with my 10 years of working in real estate in the U.S. and applying that to the Philippines, and just sharing that with individuals as I experience it.
Fantastic. And guys, you guys have to check out his content, Pinoy Floyd, especially the short form content, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, because you get a lot of insight into what rental prices are like here and what you get for those prices. Not just that, but also the food scene here and everything that life has to offer in the Philippines and with this culture. So check out the channel, Pinoy Floyd. As for now, Floyd, I know you're gonna be doing big things out here in the Philippines, so the guys here are just gonna have to wait and see. And it was a pleasure having you on for part 2, now that you're fully situated out here in the Philippines.
I appreciate you having me on, Evan.
Of course, thank you for hopping on the channel. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you are interested in making the move to the Philippines like Floyd as well, we have a free 15-step arrival checklist to give you some guidance on how to do so. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. God bless.